All right, so we recently had another Friday the 13th. I watched this about a week ago. Like said before, just kind of keep watching these Friday the 13th movies when there is a Friday the 13th. So this is the fifth Friday the 13th, the fifth one in the franchise. It's called A New Beginning. Typically, you don't see the part 5 in the title, I don't think. It's called Friday the 13th, A New Beginning. The last one was called The Final Chapter, and that one was really good. It had Corey Feldman. He makes a brief appearance in this one at the very beginning. It's a bit of a flashback scene because the rest of the film centers around his character again, Tommy Jarvis, but he's played by a different actor. He's older. So this came out in 1985. Other than the brief cameo by Corey Feldman at the beginning, there's not any well-known actors or anything like that. And Tommy's in like a kind of a halfway house for kind of disturbed teens, I guess. I think they're all supposed to be kind of younger, maybe high school age teens, but again, they're always played by older actors, so it's always kind of hard to judge how old they're supposed to be. But Tommy just like almost a mute. He doesn't talk. He gets there, and it's just this really poorly ran halfway house, just like no rules or anything. And then, of course, people start dying, and it's kind of a mystery of who's doing it. Is it Jason? Is it somebody at the halfway house? They kind of misdirect you a couple times to thinking it might not be Jason himself. It might be Tommy. It might be a couple of other teenagers there. Maybe the camp director. Who knows? So that's kind of the plot they're going with, and we do get to see Jason quite a bit, especially because there's flashbacks that Tommy has. He's kind of haunted by him, and then there's of course the people that are actually being murdered, and there's a bit of a mystery of who's doing that. So overall, this is another miss in the series. Not very good. The plot's pretty boring, and there's not really much going on. There's not a lot of character development with anybody. So you kind of see these kids that are in the halfway house. None of them get really much of a story arc or anything like that. There's one story with like a kid that's visiting his grandpa, and he goes to visit his brother later. He probably has the biggest arc out of anybody, and that's kind of sad because he doesn't have much of an arc either. So it's boring plot wise. The acting's pretty bad, as you might imagine, and the kills aren't very scary. I think I read that this one had still having trouble with MPAA, letting it have an R rating. So again, they get a lot of the kills and the gory parts cut quite a bit. So I think just because we're so used to some extreme violence with movies nowadays, that it seems pretty tame now. But even with that, some of the kills are a little inventive, but most of them are just boring. So unfortunately, the movie doesn't really have much going for it. I'm giving it a 1.75 out of 5. And for the movie connections, I kind of compared it to Halloween 3 because it does something similar, trying to change up the formula a bit. So Halloween 3, if you have seen it or might remember, they got rid of Michael Myers in that one. And this one, of course, still has Jason in it, but they kind of try to do something different with it. Similarly, they did something with the Halloween I just watched, number 4. So that's another movie connection. And then Nightmare on Elm Street 2 kind of reminded me of that because, again, they just kind of go in a different direction that you're not expecting, but not with great results. And it shows because with all of those series, they go back to their formulaic ways. So unless you're going through the whole series, like I am, where you need to see every horror film, this one is definitely one you can skip. It's down there towards the bottom of the Friday the 13th movies that I've seen so far. Other than this one, probably the other worst one is the third Friday the 13th Part 3, the one that was 3D. That one was really bad, but the only thing interesting about it was actually they showed him getting his mask, how Jason got his mask. So this is probably down there with that one as, the bottom of the barrel. So yeah, not recommended. That'll be it.